Welcome everybody to another YouTube Hangout. Super excited to be here. We've got a return guest. Mark Fidelman runs a company and a YouTube channel called Fanatics Media. Definitely worth checking out if you guys are influencers and want to learn how to run an influencer campaign, start bringing some brands on board and some of the things that they look at. Mark has a new series coming out. He's 10 episodes in on breaking down big campaigns, and he reached out to me to say, hey, I want to talk to you about one of the campaigns we're working on. I said, sure, Mark, let's do it. Happy to do it. So we're going to get into it. Mark, welcome aboard, man.
Thanks, Evan. Great to be here again. Thanks for inviting me back.
So for the people who may not have heard of you, you're kind of brand new. What beyond what I said, what's your quick intro?
Yeah, we run a digital marketing agency and what I call an influencer platform, and we use both to produce big campaigns, usually with influencers, and you know, it's worked out well for us. We really like YouTubers like Evan. We work with anyone from a PewDiePie to somebody that's only got 1,000 subscribers. It really depends on what the brand's trying to do and who the audience is.
Wow, you'll go down to 1,000 subscribers for an influencer
Absolutely.
Campaign?
You'd be shocked.
Wow, that's interesting.
Shocked.
Interesting. Cool. Well, it's your show, man. So this is going to run on Mark's YouTube channel, a cut down version, as well as a podcast. And Mark is the host. So all you, man.
All right. I feel so weird taking over your live event, but let's just get started, Evan. So Evan is going to talk about his big campaign he's running with the Sage CEO. And Evan, I have to admit, I do the same thing with one of my sponsors. It's called Hyper. And I run it with the CEO, and we have a blast. I mean, we've built such rapport. I love that model. I kind of stole that model from you after watching it. So this is perfect for me to see how you're working with the Sage CEO, what you're doing, and what the relationship's going to evolve into. So I can't wait to jump in.
Yeah, so, I'm glad that you're learning from that too. How we started is a lot of so I only do campaigns that are 1 year plus now. I don't do one-off campaigns. Just the time investment's not worth it. If we're not doing an annual thing, then I'm not interested. And so Sage, we're on a 3-year deal with. I'm working. So Sage is an accounting software company. For those of you who may not know, they have what 14,000 employees.
They're big.
Based out of London. Yeah.
Yep.
And so the CEO, Stephen Kelly, and I get on a Hangout, Google Live Hangout once a month, and we have a topic that's related to entrepreneurship, and we both answer questions basically from my audience. The goal is to expose Sage as a friend of the entrepreneur community. I have a big entrepreneur channel, and to kind of transfer some of the goodwill from my channel and my audience over to him and to Sage. It's not a hard sell. It's not we're not trying to get people to convert to an ebook or a download or a newsletter. It's about brand awareness, name recognition, and when somebody's ready to buy accounting software, which is going to happen at the life cycle of an entrepreneur, the goal is to have Sage at least be the first option that you look at because of the goodwill that Stephen and I provided.
Now, you know, that's great for a big company like Sage. I do something similar with Oracle, not via web. It's actually in person with their best customers. But when small companies come to me and say, hey, I want to run my own show, but it can't just be a show where we're talking about entrepreneurship in general. It's got to have a hard call to action. It's got to be more sales focused, or else, you know, I just can't justify, you know, doing this. What do you say to those entrepreneurs that are telling me that?
You're right. Entrepreneurs, branding shouldn't be the first priority. You got to get sales coming in. I think if an entrepreneur is looking even at their entire social media campaign, they shouldn't worry about posting content. They should be first looking at Facebook ads and using other people's platforms, so using influencers. Like before you go about worrying about creating your own content, building your own brand, leverage the brand of influencers out there because it's a faster return on investment. Building your own brand is going to take years and cost a lot of time and money, where going and working with an influencer is the faster way to do it. So yeah, if you're a small business and you need to, like that X amount, $1,000 needs to return instantly today, this is not the approach. This is not the brand building approach. Like you want to either work with an influencer who's going to pitch your product for you or wear your thing on their show, or you're funneling it into an ad campaign. You need to get results.
It's music to my ears, Evan. I mean, influencer marketing for us is the way to go. It can become very expensive, but there's, you know, realistically, there are influencers, or I call them up-and-comers or micro-influencers, that will do it on a pay-for-performance basis. So any brand that comes to us, you know, it's got a small budget. We say, hey, we could do this for you. You're going to pay us to do it, but we'll align you with the people that will do pay for performance. And then we get into the 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. You're asking why we work with them. That's the reason why, because even though they have 1,000 subscribers, they do such a great job of selling to 100 of those that it makes a lot of sense for these entrepreneurs to kind of hook up with them.
Yeah, I mean, I guess at some point, a client needs to be of a certain size to be able to afford working with you, and for the ROI to be there because you're organizing and providing all those services in between. Some influencers do it for free because they just love the company, they love the product, they want to get their first brand deal. I remember the first brand deal that I had was $500, and it was to write a blog right when I was back before YouTube days. 500. I was over the moon, dude. I would have done it for free.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It was a lot, I guess, but I had an audience too. I would have done it for free just to get a link from that corporation and to say I've worked with this company, right? And so they offered me $500. I turned that into a $1,500 a month thing, and then that just continued to snowball up. But a lot of people will do it for free. A lot of people will do it just for the exposure. Depends on the size. If you're dealing with somebody with 1,000 subs, a lot of them will do it for free. If you're finding the right people.
That's a good product.
As you start getting up, I think it's still massively underpriced. I think my pricing is underpriced compared to the value that I give, but the market is slowly coming up. I think if you are looking to invest and get awareness for your product or service, and you have a direct, you're selling a product or service, you're making money from it, and if this person talks about it and explodes the sales, like you can track that, that's a huge win. It's one of the cheapest forms of marketing 2017 right now.
So let's get back to the idea of the big campaign with Sage. What do you do specifically to distribute it? Are you just distributing it on your YouTube channel, or are there other things that you're doing to make it bigger?
It's mostly YouTube. I'm not a huge believer in the cross-platform strategy. I like creating on the platform. And so, yes, we'll tweet about it, and yes, there'll be a Facebook post about it, but most of the audience comes from within the platform. So we create content once a month. It's an hour-long hangout. And look, since this guy's the CEO of a 14,000 person company, his time is really valuable. So we got to make sure that he's getting a return, and it's good use of his time, because there's a lot of people involved to make that happen. And they post some of it on their YouTube channel. They may use it in their own marketing, but for the most part, they're working with me because they want to get at my audience. They want to get to my reach. They have a YouTube channel. It's not fantastic. They don't have a lot of subs. Nobody really pays attention to it. Yet it's part of their ongoing branding strategy. But the immediate impact is, I'm okay. You want to put it on your channel? Great. You want to host it on my channel? I don't care. Either one is fine. But they get more value out of putting it on mine because I have an audience that they don't.
Okay. And do you have any stats as to around what impact it's having? I know you shared that with me earlier, but if you could just remind me and the audience what the stats are. I think you've had like 5 million views. Is that right?
The main one that we look at is minutes watched. So we're at 5 million minutes watched across the videos. And it's led to, a couple subscribers for me, I guess, and that helps me. But it's really, are people paying attention? That's what we're monitoring. So we look at in the live chat how many people are showing up and asking questions. Are they engaged? And then minutes watched is our primary metric, because it's also YouTube's primary metric. Again, in this campaign, we're not trying to get people to sign up for an ebook or download something. So there's no hard conversion. With other campaigns, we've done that, like, hey, get this ebook or sign up for this website, or tracking views to a landing page where all of our content lives on and you can see how many people are interacting with it. Just depends on what the client wants. Built into this campaign as well is me going to speak at one of their events every year. So, they pay for my flight and travel, and I get on stage and I do a speech. So that's kind of baked in, as well as, some consulting, although I try not to focus on that as much as possible, but I want the campaigns I'm a part of to be a win and successful. So
and how much of the content is about what they do, which is more on the accounting side, or
nothing? Zero.
Nothing?
No.
Zero. So they're just hoping that there's some crossover between your audience and people that use accounting software.
Well, there is a crossover, because my audience is entrepreneurs. They're trying to target entrepreneurs. I have the biggest channel for entrepreneurs on YouTube. Gary Vee is catching up in subs. I'm still ahead of him, and ahead of him in views by a margin. So, like, I'm the place to go to reach entrepreneurs. Every entrepreneur at some point needs accounting software. It's not a sexy topic to talk about. Nobody wants to join an accounting software Google Hangout.
No.
And no, surprising, right? And this is an important case because, as an example, on our last Hangout, it didn't do as well. They picked the topics. Like, hey, we really want to focus on this topic. Can we fit that in? And I said, hey, I don't think it's going to perform as well. I'm happy to try if you want. Let's try it massively and it performs. And so part of the lesson is like also listen to the influencer. They know their audience. They know what will hit and what won't hit. And so luckily, both Steven and I can cover a wide range of topics around entrepreneurship. And he's good with almost any topic that we throw out there. But if we're talking about staying motivated or scheduling or marketing or startup or raising capital, any of those things tend to do really well. And the goal for them is to be the number one place that people think of when somebody's ready to make an accounting software purchase. So by doing this consistently, eventually everybody who's watching, starting the business, they're gonna need accounting software, but they don't want to tune in to a how to do accounting live Google Hangout. It's just boring.
And why do you think they chose your show? Now, I know it's #1 entrepreneur show on YouTube, but why do you think, two questions actually. One, why are brands so afraid to partner with influencers on YouTube? And then two, why did they choose your show versus do some other branding or lead generation exercise?
Some good questions, Mark. Why are people...
Video is the best.
I think brands are afraid because they can't control the message. They want to control it. It's a new thing. A lot of the work I do, I have to educate them on what influencer marketing looks like.
Yeah.
Like their internal teams, even the agencies that end up working with me, who reach out to me, they have no idea how to run a YouTube influencer marketing campaign. So I'm educating them so they can better sell to their client.
Yeah.
So there's a lack of awareness. Like the work you're doing is super important. I'm sure every client who comes in, you need to shift their thinking of to how a video campaign should run. I know you have your 7-step process. That video came out recently. Like that's part of your work. You have to educate the market. And so people they're afraid of it because they don't know how to do it. They didn't go to school for this. It wasn't traditionally part of how they came up and what their company does, especially the bigger, older corporations. So it's just naturally it's going to be scary. In terms of why they picked me, I just get a lot of outreach from having a successful YouTube channel. I don't do any pitching. I don't have an agent going out there trying to make these deals happen for me. It just happens. Like when you reach a certain size, I mean, it's your role. What are you doing? You're trying. A brand comes to you and says, "Hey, Mark, we're trying to sell hot dogs. We're trying to reach this demo," and you go out and you find who the influencers are, even if it's 1,000 subscribers, to sell hot dogs in Ohio, right? And like you go and find that person. And so people come and find me because I've established myself as a leader in my industry. And I think I end up turning away more deals. Well, I know I turn away more deals. One, because I don't want to work on the short term. Like I just turned away a huge bank, because they want to do a one-off thing that may lead to something else. Like I don't want to I don't want to fill out the W8 Bend form to do it. It's just it's not worth my time anymore. But at the beginning I was like everything, hustle, over deliver, give them way more results than what they asked for. And then also a lot of people want me to be a pitchman for their product. And it's not something that I do on my channel. And so I lose a lot of deals because of that. Sage was aligned. Stephen Kelly, who's the CEO, is a visionary, has big plans for where he sees entrepreneurs fit into the global economy much more than just selling software. And so that really fits well with what I'm all about. And I think the values have to be aligned between the influencer and the brand beyond just, can you convert something for us?
Okay. Well, I mean, from my perspective, I love what you're doing with Sage. I think what you're doing makes a lot of sense, especially because Sage is targeting entrepreneurs. I don't really understand why more brands aren't getting involved, because if you look at a survey that just went out, and this was done by Tubular, they basically interviewed kids or surveyed kids, and they said, what do you want to be when you grew up? Well, the number one answer is YouTuber.
Yeah, 3/4. I saw it. It's crazy.
It's like, okay, well, people that are in the marketing function, or they're at a brand in a decision-making role, if you know this is happening, your kids are watching YouTube probably more than TV, and they're saying they want to be a YouTuber, and you're not using YouTube to reach kids and then, Generation X and the millennials. To me, that's that there's a problem there.
It's a matter of like these big companies are losing market share. They're going to lose. They're losing market share to the guys who get it, to the smart guys who hire Fanatics Media to go out and create campaigns that over deliver on the ROI compared to TV campaigns or newspaper, radio, everything else. Those companies that take the risk are going to win market share, and the big companies are going to struggle. So either they adapt, right? Or they go like the dinosaurs and they go extinct. Like most companies don't stick around. Look at the Fortune 500 list when it first came out and look at it now. Like the companies are gone.
Yeah.
Big companies die. And this is why, because they don't adapt and the new players come in and destroy. So for the up and coming companies who've maybe raised a little bit of money or want to dominate their industry, not like pure startup, but they have a budget. Yeah. It's the most effective marketing dollars you could spend in 2017, and you need to jump on it.
Yeah. I mean, obviously I couldn't agree more. It's been a little slow, I think, in moving people from these image ads on Facebook and maybe Google text ads to YouTube video. But, my experience, especially with doing my own show, but also with working with influencers on YouTube, is they move the needle so much more. If you got the demographics right and the audience right, they move the needle so much faster, so much better. And it's a trusted message coming from an influencer about your brand. It just shocks me that people aren't doing it more. And I'd say even moreover, if you don't want to hire an influencer on YouTube, put a minute pre-roll ad in front of their YouTube channel. So people that are watching their channel see your ad, at least for 5 seconds, and you don't even get charged unless it's 30 seconds. See your ad before they watch the influencer's video. That's a little hack, free tip for your audience about how you can really move the needle if you can't afford an influencer on YouTube.
Yeah, and it's easy to spend money in the wrong places, though, right? Like you could dump money on pre-roll ads or Facebook ads and just blow it because you don't know what you're doing. So whether it's hiring somebody like Fanatics Media and who understands it, and there's a cost for that knowledge and expertise, or you're going to say, listen, this is serious. I'm going to really invest time to understand it, whether it's watching your videos or reading white papers or getting into it and learning how to do it. Don't just. It may be the highest return on your investment for marketing dollars, but don't assume it's just going to be easy and just make sense and this is a no-brainer. Like you have to know what you're doing. You're spending money. It's easy to waste money in anything. Just like you would think about if I'm making books or making picture frames, like I care about the quality, I care about what goes into it. So if you're running a marketing campaign, I think a lot of people jump in also too soon. They test it out for a couple $1,000s and they don't get a result because they had no idea what they were doing. And they say, oh, this influencer marketing thing doesn't work for me. Yeah.
And we've had a lot of that. I talk about our failures on the channel as well. It's like, just recently we had a failure where it was kind of an audience mismatch. The brand knew that we should be targeting women that are 45 and older. We still said, hey, let's test it 25 to 45 just to see if there's a market here. Clearly there wasn't. We failed miserably, and we quickly had to switch to a 45 or over. So you could do influencer marketing wrong and spend a lot of money and waste a lot of money. You got to really be careful with that targeting.
Yeah, and that's working with pros like you. And so imagine the amateur going out.
Even the pros get it wrong.
Right, but it wasn't all the budget too, right? Like it's part of the campaign. And that's part of, you need a testing budget. Like if you're not failing, then you're not succeeding.
Right.
You need to run 20% of your budget against a new demo and see if there's a way to make it hit. You always want to try to prove your best campaigns wrong, that something else can be better.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Evan. Couldn't agree more. So, Evan, hey, that's it for my show. If you want to continue on, I'd love to.
Sure. If I'm thinking about maybe two other examples, if I think about Stephen Kelly too and Sage and why it works, Stephen is a really talkative, open book CEO. He's not worried about corporate and what, I've worked with a lot of CEOs and they suck on camera and they're very stiff and very boring and
corporate and the PR team's in front of them. You can't see the PR team and they're saying, tisk, tisk, tisk.
It's just so boring. It's so, what, the initial name of this, we had Stephen Kelly in the name of this hangout, like the title that was going live. And people in my audience who were watching live were like, we're so excited to see Stephen Kelly. And they're disappointed that he's not going to be on this show, that we're just talking about him, that he's not going to be. Like, who would say that about a CEO? How many CEOs, especially of an accounting software company, you'd say, I can't wait to see this CEO come on board, right? Yeah. So it's able to use his strength as a communicator to make the show work. With another client, Aweber, they do email marketing software.
Sure.
I did the 2-year stretch with them. And what we did, because their CEO wasn't great at that, we had a different person come on from AWeber each time to show the humanness and friendliness of the team, because AWeber is always customer friendly. That's one of the things they're trying to promote. So one month we'd have somebody in their PR department come on and talk about how do you run a PR campaign, and asking and answering questions from the audience about PR. One month we have somebody, their graphic designer, come on board and answer questions around graphic design for entrepreneurs. Again, nothing to do with, there's one guy came on and talked about how to make an email marketing campaign, which is great and relevant. But if we did that every month, nobody would care. So being able to have different people come on, and then again, every entrepreneur at some point is going to need email marketing software. We want to be the first one. Go to AWeber. I'm a customer. I also use all the products that I'm a part of. I've been an AWeber customer for 12 years. I use Sage Accounting in my accounting process. So that's a big deal for me. I try to work with brands that if I'm going to go do something with them, I want to be able to talk about their product. I don't need to be the expert, but be able to talk knowledgeably about it.
You know, one of the things that we've done for some of our clients is we'll go talk to their customers and do what you and I are doing, saying, hey, we know you use AWeber. What are some of your top strategies or hacks? So AWeber would actually get a lot more out of it, or potentially a lot more out of it if you do it that way as well. I don't know if you've experimented with that or not.
We've tried. The challenge is getting customers who are good on camera. They suck. Most customers suck. Entrepreneurs suck at telling their story a lot of times. And so you need a really, really good host to pull it out of them. And sometimes it's still pulling teeth. So how to make something like that not seem like a commercial for AWeber, but there's still value for the client, right? Because a lot of times it comes off too commercial. Like, here's how AWeber really, or X client, really helped me. And it's obviously a placed commercial.
You can just ban the word AWeber. They can't say the word. You just talk about the campaign, and then AWeber gets the benefit of it because they're in the link down below, or maybe there's a little description coupon that comes up.
You can. Just like with every video, at least what I look through when I'm making videos, there has to be value for the audience.
Yeah.
AWeber provides a great service. Sage provides a great service for entrepreneurs. I firmly believe in both those companies where they're not ripping people off. But the videos that I make, even if it's promoting them, has to be value add. So if I'm interviewing, we talked about that idea for a couple of my clients, and we just couldn't get the customers to come on and be able to tell a story that worked well, because it just seems like a commercial and they weren't good enough on camera.
If you had a show with AWeber, and we struggle at this still, and we've been doing it for years, that kind of said, hey, here are best practices with email marketing, right? And it's constantly evolving, because we used to do the REs and the FWs in our subject lines when we sent out. That was spam after about 3 months. But it's constantly evolving. If you were to show us how to do better email campaigns with customers that actually have done it, maybe you call it small campaigns with email.
Yeah.
I would watch that show. I guarantee I'd watch it.
Yeah, if there's enough, if there's enough new content, or if I'm doing it once a month, maybe it could work. It's just fine. Again, if there's value, if you can give value for the audience, then it can work. If you're trying to force a message, and just like the last thing I did with Sage, the last event, they wanted to force a message. It's like, okay, we'll try it. It's like 20% of what a normal video would get, because it's just not a fit for what I do. But it's good. It's a good lesson. Like, we'll do it normally, but it's not a good use of everybody's time. To the point of the small influencers, when I launched my book, and it's still something we're doing now, what we do is we go to Amazon, look at what similar books they recommend to mine. So it's like 4-Hour Workweek and Tools of Titans and all the other entrepreneurship related books. Then we go to YouTube and look up who's done a review of these books, and then we reach out to each of them individually and say, hey, Evan has his book. It's about this. We saw you wrote about 4-Hour Workweek. Would you like to do a review of this book? And most people will just do it for free.
Do they do it because it's you and you have a big channel and they want to hope there's maybe some reciprocity in the future? I mean, could the average Joe or Jill do what you did?
It definitely helps. Like, we pick YouTube because I'm known on YouTube in a niche, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm known for entrepreneurs in YouTube. I'm not like known by everywhere on YouTube, but I'm doing it there instead of Snapchat or somewhere else because I'm known in that community. So absolutely, I can do that in a way that others might have a harder time doing it. But if you're an expert on leadership, like, they may resonate with some of your messages, you can still, like, your hit rate won't be as high, but it's still a viable strategy to go with. And some of them, like, we'll do a shout out to some people on some videos and say, hey, thank you, Jill, for profiling my book. Go check out her channel, that kind of stuff. And I also offer to be involved on some of the videos. It's like, if you want something from Evan, you want an intro, you want to ask him a question, you want something, I'll make a pre-recorded video that they can use in their videos as well. And so the bulk of our effort, I have my assistant spending a lot of time. Basically, every week she goes and does that and looks at what are the books that are related to mine, which YouTubers have covered those books, and then she'll reach out to them, and we have a constant stream of channels of different sizes, under 1,000 subs for a lot of them too, creating content, and then I'll tweet out the video and I'll help promote it, and like they get some exposure, and there may be some name recognition with me, and they may not have any idea who I am, but it's been effective in getting the message out, and it's something that we consistently do. And so I think for the influencers watching, the more content you create, the more of an audience you build up. I found the best results by you spend your time either reaching out to brands or just creating better content. And I've had the best results just honing my craft, creating better content. My business model is kick up as much noise as I can in my industry, and good stuff will happen. Yeah. So I spend 0 time pitching companies, and they come and find me because I've created the content. And it's only going to get, like, as Mark's business grows, as more of Mark's exist, as brands start to come on board, as the new companies who raise funds and go do influencer marketing are getting results from it, it's only going to increase the price and become more and more and more expensive, which creates a greater opportunity for these 3/4 of young kids who now want to become YouTubers.
Well, I'm wondering if everyone picked up on something that I did that Evan just said, and that is he just went around and he knocked on a bunch of YouTuber doors and asked them to help him promote his book. I can count on one hand, and we've worked with hundreds of brands. How many of the brands we've worked with have ever even thought about doing that or have done that? They don't have to go and pay us to do that. They can do it themselves. Now, maybe they don't know how. It's not that hard to figure out. You don't have to hire us to do something like that. But at a minimum, I'm thinking if you got a new product, if you're an entrepreneur, what a great way to get the message out about your product or service, even if you don't have a huge channel like Evan does.
Yeah. For some people, it's an honor. Like, for some people, I was the first person to ever reach out to them and offer something. And then to be involved, to have me involved in a video and say something and to have a shout out on my channel, it doesn't take a lot. The exchange could be, we'll tweet your video from our account when it comes out.
Or put it on our blog or something.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and if you're a brand, there's value in that. And they can say, we just worked with Heinz or BMW or whatever, even though it was 0 cost. Like, you can leverage, just like I'm leveraging my name in the YouTube entrepreneur community, my brand is associated with it. You could do the same thing. People are now, some of those people are saying, I collabed with Evan Carmichael, and that makes them look better for the next things they do. So the brand, you can use that to your benefit to help them get more deals, and you don't have to pay anything.
And you can go just a level up and find people that I call performance YouTubers that will only, take a paycheck if they perform. So you give them a tracking link, you put them as part of this affiliate marketing platform, which there are many, you can look them up. This is what we do, is that we find a bunch of these people that are in our database, and we say, hey, there's a new product coming out. Not only do you get the product for free, but if you sell this product on Amazon or the client's website, we'll give you a piece of that commission. There's a lot of YouTubers that'll do that as well.
Yeah, I think to make that happen really well, you need to have a campaign or a program to educate them on the product and have time available to walk them through demos. And like, I'm going to go keynote a speech in France next month. It's for this HR software company, talking about my book, Your One Word. And I asked him, okay, I need to use your software. Can you hook me up with a demo? I want to learn what it's about, even though I may not use it, just to know your company and what you're doing. And the guy there said, you're the first guy we've ever had come and speak who asked you to look at our software and use it. Like, what? Like, it's just mind blowing. And so, if I know that company, I can talk better about it, and maybe it fits into some of my shows somewhere. And so for those YouTubers who are going to be paid for performance, the more they know about the company, the more they use it and have a personal affinity towards it somehow, the better the campaign's going to be. And so if you're one of 100 things that they're promoting, but you're the one who's actually doing a little bit more outreach, a little bit more caring, a little bit more hand-holding, offering to do a web call to walk them through, answer any questions, you're going to get a lot more love from that person than everybody else that they're promoting and pitching. So it behooves the brand to not just treat them like cattle, but as partners that they want to educate and train and build a lifetime relationship with beyond just selling it for this month.
Yeah, I feel like we can go on for hours about all the tips and tricks and all the things that we've learned through trial and error. And most of my stuff is error, but there are some really cool things you can do on YouTube. And again, I'll keep saying it. I'm just shocked by how many brands haven't figured it out, that they need to either have a presence on there or really go deep. And YouTube's about to make it a lot easier.
How so?
Well, they're going to have more of it's going to be more of a social sharing network. Like right now, it's hard to kind of share, there's no stream yet. I know they're experimenting with that, but there's no real stream yet where you can share videos and people that are interested in other videos can see that. Right now, it's being done on Twitter, Facebook, and other places. YouTube really hasn't figured that out yet, but they're going to.
Yeah, I think too, a lot of the influencers aren't used to running a business. They had some job, they started making videos, it's some fun thing, right. Somebody reaches out to them, deadlines and metrics and one-pagers and proposals and professionalism, and there's most influencers and most corporations don't know how to talk to each other. There's a wide communication gap because for a lot of influencers, it's the first time dealing with corporations. So there's a role for what you're doing as well. I'm not surprised with that corporate isn't in on it. It's just what happens. They're just going to lose business. And the struggle is, okay, do we try to spend our time educating the corporate or working on the up and coming guys? Like the biggest mistake I made in my entrepreneur career was trying to sell my business to the number one guy, focusing on that. The number one guy doesn't care. It's the number 4 guy who made the big acquisition who wants to leapfrog to become number 1. The number 4s in every industry are the ones who are betting on influencer marketing. Those are the guys you want to go after instead of trying to target the number 1 guys who they have the big budgets, but educating them, you'll die before you educated them enough to get enough of a campaign going. And by that time, like that number 4 guy will be spending so much on this stuff because they're aggressive and they want to grow. So it's just how industries work. It's the history, the life cycle of companies.
Okay, but let's look at Facebook ads. I think 83% of brands are on Facebook ads. Is that right? Does that sound right to you? These facts are in my head. I don't know if I'm spewing this number out, but I think it's close. So they've gone to Facebook and they're putting ads out there, right? But they really haven't gone to YouTube in a big way yet. And I don't know if it's because they're afraid of video or working with influencers in a video environment. But eventually, like you said, it's adapt or die. They're going to have to. It's just been a slower uptick than I would have thought because of the power of what we've seen with YouTube, bar none. It's way better than ads. Influencer marketing on YouTube is way better than ads. There's so many things you can do within YouTube too, like place little overlays. Even if you're not talking about the product, you can place an overlay if you're doing advertising on YouTube right in the video that somebody can click on their mobile device or on their desktop. So,
Facebook ads is direct response marketing, and it's easy to track, and it's what they understand.
Yeah.
Influencer marketing, what's the correlation to influencer marketing? It's like getting your car in the James Bond movie. That's kind of like what they know, right? So you're part of celebrity
person.
Gift bags, sure, celebrity spokespeople or gift bags at an event or that. So that's kind of the model. But most companies don't do that. Most big companies don't think about product placement in big shot movies and using celebrities. They don't. But every company advertises. So it's easier for them to make the jump to Facebook, which is all direct response, versus hiring a YouTuber to come in. Like, I don't know how, the ads that I've seen on YouTube from the big companies, I doubt are performing very well. And the metrics aren't as good as what you can get from Facebook. The targeting, the reporting. Facebook is just a better ad platform right now than YouTube. The YouTube strength is going to be using the people, using the influencers. It's just not a model that corporate is used to. So let them die.
It's a good point. Facebook is closer to the old paradigm. This new video type of marketing is not. It's more closer to television advertising, but it's not. It's really sponsoring a TV show if you think about it. So yeah, I have to agree with you on that. From that perspective, they just aren't used to it. At least the people in power now, the baby boomers didn't grow up with YouTube. So that's probably the difference. I have one last topic. It's near and dear to me. Live video, like what we're doing now.
Yeah.
What do you think? So if you think recorded YouTube video is hard for brands to get behind, what about live video? Is that harder, or is it easier to get brands to get involved with?
I think it depends on the brand and what they're doing. I push live video as much as I can, because if I can get somebody from their brand involved, it's great, because we get immediate people watching, asking questions. There's feedback. They see the results. They see that it's working. Some brands don't want to be on the video at all, though. Some brands just want a mention in a video, or it's brought to you by whoever, right? I'm working on a deal right now that's like that. Like, they want zero involvement, but they want a feature. They love this series. They want to be a part of it. Brought to you by whoever. Great. Live is a different algorithm than the pre-recorded videos. You get a bigger hit up front. You get more people coming up front, but it's harder for that video to live on compared to a pre-recorded video. So again, depends on the goals of the campaign. If it's we want as much like right now, then go live. If you want legacy and lifetime, then you want to go with the recorded videos. I think it's a skill that, like, live isn't going anywhere. Live is only getting more important. It's all the platforms are going live. You can do video everywhere now. People want the authenticity, and brands that figure it out are going to win. And it doesn't have to be the CEO who does it. It can be some product manager at the company who just has a passion for it. Like, it doesn't have to be Stephen Kelly. It's great that it is, but it could be whoever's in charge of small business at Sage. If he or she really cares about entrepreneurs and that flows through, I associate that person with Sage. I have good feelings towards Sage. And I would love, like, I tell Stephen, you gotta be on Instagram filming yourself at the airport. Like, I'm about to get on the airport, I'm flying off to Dubai, guys, go crush today. Something like that. Like, people love the live, and the brands are not even close. They're not even close on that. But the ones who pick it up, again, the number 4 guys looking to jump to number 1, they're gonna get on board and they're gonna win.
Yeah, but I mean, the only caveat there is, if you think people are bad on recorded video, on live video, it's way tougher, in my opinion, because there is no second act, right? You can't cut 15 times. You just got to roll through it.
Yeah.
And if you freeze up on recorded video, you're really going to freeze up on live video.
It's going to be part of the marketing toolbox. When you're hiring somebody, right, it's going to be, how good are you in front of the camera? Right now, companies hire somebody who's just out of college, 19 years old or 20, 22 years old, whatever, and put them in charge of the Instagram campaign. Like, you're young, go create Instagram stuff for us. They have no idea what they're doing. Right. So this will be part of it. Hiring people who are good on camera, who can do live video. Like, the companies who hire people for that position are going to win. And so there'll be training around it. There'll be courses around it. There'll be people like you who are looking for people who are good at that you can connect with influencers. It's going to be part of business in 2020 and 2025, and the guys who get on that are going to win. Targeting the number 4 guys who want to leapfrog. It's like, I'm pissed to be number 4. I want to get to number 1. Mark, how do we do it? This is the plan, guys. Let's go crush it. And they're motivated.
Yeah, and the worst part, though, for me is, I did a study, this is a few years ago, across all the universities, including Harvard, including MIT. They weren't teaching the basic social media skills at the time. There wasn't a single class, believe it or not, just 3 years ago. I wrote a Forbes article about this. Now there are, but I doubt there's a class, well, maybe at Stanford. I doubt there's a class that talks about how you set up a live video, how you run a live video show. Same thing with recorded video on the YouTube channel. If there are, please let me know, because I'd like to go talk to those professors. But for the most part, I think they're coming out of college not having a really good understanding of how these things work, and therefore it takes innovative businesses to kind of teach them how to do it, and even the businesses don't know how to do it. So it falls back to people like you and other people on YouTube that are showing people how to be successful on it.
Yeah, I think you can split up the skill set. I think the ability to be good live in front of a camera is something you can teach. I'm sure Jimmy Kimmel could come on and crush a live session, even if he's never done a YouTube Hangout, because he has the skills, he's honed them. It's something that we can bring out in people. The tactics of how to win on each of these platforms, it just changes so quickly. Like, if you think Gary Vee is the god of tactics and you buy his Ask Gary Vee book, like, it's already out of date. It moves too quickly. So a lot of the skills you can learn, but for the tactics, you got to be in it and learning it and and watching content and living and breathing it to win. But the other stuff you can teach, and we already know how to do a lot of these things. They're already great people. Like YouTube stars shouldn't even exist. Like the TV people should have already crushed that industry. They're just lagging way behind. And so YouTubers who don't have the skills, who are producing lower quality content compared to what you can get on TV, are starting to win. I shouldn't exist. What I do should not exist. NBC should have already been in here crushing everything that I'm doing, profiling famous entrepreneurs, and they allowed a path for me to get good and steal their market share away. So people are watching my videos instead of whatever NBC's show is. And that's the nature of business. It's just going to keep happening.
Yeah, and speaking of which, they're just now starting to jump in by forming their own influencer marketing teams. They've called us several times. I know CBS has. So they're just now starting to get into it. Your point, I mean, this has been around for 4 or 5 years. So they're lagging big time. All right. Well, Evan, great show. Hope we can do this again. I mean, I got several other topics that I'm passionate about. If you're up for it,
let me know, man. I want your show to be more than 6 minutes long next time. Let's see if we can make that happen. My challenge.
Well, the podcast will be, but the video, I mean, I'm not like you. I haven't figured it out yet.
We'll see. Cool. Right. Well, thank you, Mark. Appreciate the time, man. Have a great rest of the day. Thank you guys for watching too. And the show, when does the video come out for people watching?
Well, we're going to release 2 a week starting next week, and this is number 10, so probably 4 weeks out, roughly.
4 weeks. Got it. Okay. And check out Fanatics Media website and YouTube channel. You produce content like twice a week. What are you doing on your YouTube channel?
Yeah, roughly about twice a week. I'm thinking about increasing. I see guys like Grant Cardone. How often are you doing videos these?
3 times a day.
What?
Yeah, you have to, dude. Once a day is minimum. When I went from once a week to once a day, huge jump. Once a day to twice a day, huge jump. Twice a day to 3, not as much. Grant does a decent job. He just has series that underperform. He doesn't do a good enough job on his analytics because he keeps running with series that don't do well. But if you like, once a day is new minimum. You got to do once a day. You'll get there. Like at least plan to get there.
I can't get enough guests, but you do a lot of solo stuff, right? I mean, you're
yeah. But you have thoughts. I mean, you get up there, share your thoughts. You have people on your team. You have guests. The guests can be broken down, like interview them for an hour and break it down into 6-10 minute videos. You know, you find a way. You're a creative guy. You're Mark Fidelman, dude.
I need to talk to you about offline about doing that. I'm just so involved in the business that I find that I don't have a lot of time to do these, but I'm going to make time. I see your success, and I'm like, wow.
You'll see a huge jump. And there's nobody, like from the other people who are doing what you do, right, who are covering influencer marketing, nobody's at the pace. Like, why am I ahead of Gary? Like Grant, I was way behind Grant at the start. Like I have 700,000 subs as of this morning. Grant's at 250. Gary's at like 680 or something. Gary started really exploding when he did a daily show, his daily V, right? That's what.
Casey Neistat, he did the same thing.
Yeah, like Gary. I look at a guy like Eric. You know Eric Thomas?
No.
Oh, Eric Thomas is like, Les Brown?
Oh yeah,
he's like the new Les Brown. I look at these guys who I consider to have more talent than me. Like, he's awesome. Eric Thomas is awesome. Gary Vee is natural, awesome. Grant in live settings just crushes stuff. And I'm beating all of them, in some cases combined, just because I'm playing the algorithm better than they are, right? So you can have people who have less talent who win because they understand the game better. So they're riding on the side roads and I'm taking the highway. And part of it is creating more consistent content. So minimum, daily is minimum. Like you should be planning for twice a day.
And how long are you doing it daily? I mean, it's been a couple of weeks since I've watched one of your shows. I got to do it daily now. Is it 5 or 6 minutes that you're doing it?
No, 10 minutes plus each.
And so you pick a subject for the day, and then that's what you talk about.
It can be. There's different themes, right? Like you could have a guest, you can do a profile, you could go on a rant, you can do a listicle. Like you create a content schedule just like you would with any campaign. You're the expert at that stuff. So much pressure.
But Evan, I'm going to study you. I'm going to be all over you for the next month because
twice a day.
You're rocking it, man. You are absolutely rocking it.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks for the time, man. We'll connect again, and I'm looking forward to seeing the show come out.
Okay. Likewise.
Okay, thank you guys for watching. Go check out Mark, Fanatics Media, YouTube, and website. You'll learn about how to run influencer campaigns and what brands look for and how you can grow as well. Happy Thursday, guys.
Bye.